Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Jennifer Bowman with Olympia Piano, and this is video number 4 in the 12 Days of Harmonization series. In this video, we are going to harmonize the Christmas song, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. So I think you will get the most out of this video if you're able to watch the video called Harmonization 101, where we fill out this Solfege Chord Finder and find out all the chords that go with the various solfege syllables. The link for the download to the Solfege Chord Finder is in the description, as is the link for We Wish You a Merry Christmas, both the music and the lead sheet. So this video has 3 parts. First, we're going to harmonize the melody using solfege. Secondly, we're going to go over how to create that accompaniment, the boom-chuck-chuck. And third, I'm going to show you how to write the chords on this lead sheet here so you can transpose this piece and play the harmony in any key. If you've already watched some of my videos and you know how to create the harmonies you wish, then please just go ahead and skip to the accompaniment section. The exact timestamp will be in the description. So we are going to start by filling out the solfege syllables in the key of C. So all of my examples are going to be in the key of C, so we don't have to worry about any sharps or flats. So in the key of C, G is so. And so just take a moment and write in all those syllables. All right, our next step is going to be to fill out the harmonies that go with each measure. And in this piece, it's going to basically be 1 chord per measure, except for near the end of each section where there's going to be 2 in this measure and this measure. I also want to mention we're using most of the basic chords. However, there's going to be a couple of instances where we might use what's called a secondary dominant, and that's a 5 chord outside of the key that then leads to one of these chords that is in the key. So I'll explain that a little bit more when we get to it, but I think it sounds good if we can use those. So let's get started. We're not going to have a chord here with this pickup, so that will have nothing with it, and we'll start the chords right here. And what I like to do is play 2 measures at a time just to kind of keep it in context. So with Do, if we look on the Solfege Chord Finder, we've got a 1 chord C major, 4 chord, or a 6 chord. So try the 1 chord first. 1 chord sounds good. Let's try 4. 4 chord doesn't work, and let's try the 6 chord. You can hear it's going to be a 1 chord. And for the sake of this accompaniment, we're going to keep everything in root position this time. So every chord, we're going to be jumping around a little bit with the left hand, and you'll see why once we get to the accompaniment. So 1 chord. Now we'll choose the next harmony. La, we can try D minor, F major, or A minor. And I'll start in context with the beginning of the line. So we have got a 1 chord. Here's a 2 chord. Works okay. And now let's try 4 chord, F major. I think that one is stronger for sure. And let's try the 6 chord. 6 chord works okay as well. However, I think the 4 is the strongest. Okay, now I'm going to start right here, and we're going to choose the chord that goes with the Re. Re could be D minor, G, or B diminished. Try them in that order. D minor first. D minor is good. Okay, let's try 5 chord. 5 doesn't really work, but it does sound good in the last measure, so I'm going to write that down just kind of ahead of time. And let's try the 7 diminished. 7 diminished does not work. So let's keep this as a 2 here. So we got 1, 4, 2, and then 5 sounded good there. What's our other choices for T? We've got E minor, we like G already, or B diminished. So I'm going to try the E minor and B diminished just to make sure those don't sound better. That could work for a modern version of this, but this is going to be traditional, so I'm not going to write that down. And let's try B diminished. That also kind of works, but I think 5 is the best. Yeah, 5 is the best. Circle that 5 there. 3 could work in an alternate version, but 5 is best. Okay, so now next line, Mi, we've got for our choices C major, E minor, or A minor. 1, 3, or 5. Let's try them in that order. I'm going to play the last note on the first line. And we'll try C major first. One works. Now let's try 3-chord E minor. I think that works really well. And let's try minor 6, which is A minor. It doesn't really work. I think the 3 is the strongest though. 3. And now we'll do this measure, do, la. So we have a C chord, an F chord, or an A minor. You should take note that both the F and the A minor have la and do in them. So those are probably going to be the better choices than the C chord. But I'll try the C chord just the same. So 1 doesn't work at all. Okay, here's 4, F major. 4 works really well. And let's try minor 6. Boy, those both work. I think I like the minor 6. However, you look at the music here, the way this goes is you play it through once, then you play this middle part, and then you play this again. So the second time through, you could use different chords if there were alternate ones that you liked. So maybe on the second time, you use the 3-chord here and the 4-chord here or something like that. At any rate, that's what you can do when there's 2 chords you like equally well. I like to have the motion and I like having that distance of a 5th. So that's why I'm choosing the 6 there. Okay, so now I already told you we're gonna have 2 chords in this measure and we're gonna end on the 1 chord because do, it's the ending. I'm just gonna say that and do that. So we've got to figure out which 2 chords to put here. So I'm going to check out the ones with la. We've got minor 2, 4, or minor 6. Okay, 2 works okay. And let's try 4. 4 kind of works, but not really. Okay, so 2 is the winner here. And then I think you can hear it needs to change right here. So we are going to just choose a chord that goes with the T. And let's look at those. We've got E minor, G, B diminished. 3 doesn't work. Let's try 5. 5 works. And let's try 7. 7 works okay, but 5 is stronger. Okay, part 2. I'm not going to put a chord here, but 1 chord per measure. We'll start with do. Do's choices, C major, F major, A minor. Okay, C major is good. Here's 4 chord. Doesn't really work. And here is the 6 chord. I think it's the 1 chord. So now let's harmonize the T. We've got E minor, G, or B diminished. Ooh, that sounds very good, very familiar. Okay, here's 5. That also works. And B diminished. Not as strong. I think I like the 3. I'm gonna go with the 3. The 5 does work. Okay, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna harmonize this one. So we could either do C, E minor, or G. You'll see why in just a second. One doesn't work for that, so let's do 3. 3 is okay. Here is 5. 5 is the best. Now I did that first because you might have heard in the introduction, I talked about secondary dominance. We could harmonize this measure with a chord in this key, but sometimes it's stronger to go outside of this key for one measure and use the 5 of this chord to make this moment stronger. So I'll show you without it and with it. So if I was going to harmonize this within the key, I have the choice of a 1 chord, 4 chord, or 6 chord. So we'll go through that with the 1 chord first. Doesn't really work. Let's try the 4 chord. 4 4 chord works pretty well. I like the 4 chord. A minor also works really well. And now I'm going to show you that other choice. So if we're in the key of C, our 5 chord is G, and the 5 chord in the key of G would be a D major chord. So we'd be borrowing D major from the key of G just for this moment. And that is called a 5 of 5, kind of a fancy terminology. But what I'm going to do now is play a D chord in this measure, D major, 5 of 5. See how that pulls to that G chord? So I like that one the best, but all 3 of those could work. And that's called 5 of 5. I'm going to circle that. Okay, last line. Let's harmonize the me. We've got C major, E minor, or A minor. Last note, end of line 3, and we'll start with the C major harmonization. C major sounds great. Now let's do E minor. E minor, maybe. Okay, and A minor works, but I think I'm going to go with the C major. Yeah, C major, 1 chord, and then 1 to go, because this is going to be the same as it was before. So I'm just going to write that in. Okay, so we've got to harmonize the so. We've got 3 choices: C major, E minor, or G major. Let's try C major first. That works. I like a little more harmonic motion right now in the piece, but the 1 does work. Okay, let's try the E minor 3 chord. I really like that one. And let's try G chord. 5 chord also works, but I think the color of that E minor is the best. Yeah, let's go with the E minor. Now we've got all the harmonies done. Let's go over the right hand fingering and the new accompaniment. So let me quickly go over the fingering that I think works best for this piece. We're going to start with thumb here on G, then scoot over, stretch, and then you're going to do a big stretch here. Then just for a moment, cross your second finger over. And then your hand's going to feel a little bit squished, but we're getting in position for the next section. So don't let your pinky go up to E, but rather squish it a little bit and put it on D. Because then you're in position for the next part, and you can stay here till here. And then coming back down. And then you'd go back to the beginning. All right, so left hand pattern now. We're going to have all root position chords. We're not doing any inversions for anything. And so what that means is the pattern is going to be pinky alone and then top part of the chord for beats 2 and 3. Technically, you are going to want to feel down, up, up. But some of the first times you do this, your hand's going to want to go down, up, down. So you have to concentrate down, up, up, down, up, up, and so forth. The way I'd suggest practicing this is just with the root chords. Just notice how they're moving in between each other. I'll walk you through it and show you what I mean. So we start with a C chord, and we're going down to F. Now my thumb is going to be where my pinky was. Right hand's going to move. Now we've got a 2 chord. Here's the 2. So pinky's going to go above where the thumb just was. And then 2 and 5 have the same relationship as 1 and 4. So the thumb's going to go where the pinky was. And then again, we chose the 3, which is right here. Pinky goes 1 above the thumb. Same relationship once again. And then here's your 2, so it's kind of in between. Thumb where pinky was, and then here's where your pinky goes. We stay there. Now pinky's going to go where 3rd finger was, and then we're going to slide down 1 step entirely. thumb where pinky was. Here's where pinky's gonna go. Up a third, down next door. So spend some time just getting those relationships, figuring out where the root or the pinky is gonna go. Now, when we go together, I'm gonna go nice and slowly. What you need to consider is that the left hand accompaniment is this. So it's a quarter, 2 notes, 2 notes. So root, third, third. Sometimes they're gonna have 1 note together. Sometimes the right hand's gonna play 2 notes and the left hand's only gonna have 1 note. And I think that's the hardest thing about putting this together. So we have together, 2 notes, together, 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 same thing. So once you get that down, then you can just transfer that skill to here, here, here. This one's a little bit different. So now I'm gonna take a moment and write that in, and then we'll try it. So take a few minutes, write in your accompaniment. As I'm writing my accompaniment, I want to draw your attention to the end of line 2. We've got a 2 chord for 2 notes and then a 5 chord for 1. So you have 2 choices here. Just going to do that as a block chord, by the way. You could either do 2 notes of the 5 chord right here in kind of the same pattern in a third, or you could hop down and play a full G chord. So let me show you both of those ways. So here's 2 notes of the D minor chord, and then we're going to switch, which in essence would be that inversion of G, and then right next door to the 1 chord, or pop down, play a full chord. I happen to like that one a little bit better, and it's not too bad to pop down because the thumb does go where the pinky was. So that's what I'm going to put for that. Okay, moving to line 3. We've been doing the Waltz Boom-Chuck. You see how the music changes here. We have the option to play a different accompaniment while the music is a little bit different. And I'll just show you that option before we write anything in. So I'm going to play this line with the boom-chuck, and then I'm going to play it just with block chords held for the duration. Or we could change it up. And that's the way I prefer to do it. Block chords for this whole line. It's nice to have a little bit of variety. And line 4, we're going to just do the boom-chuck again. Let's go through the whole piece slowly. I'll try to talk you through where you have to play 2 notes when the other hand's playing 1, and so forth. So the right hand's going to start by itself, and then together, 2 notes right hand, 2 notes right hand, and then thumb's going to go where the pinky was, but you're going to play the pinky on F. Then look 1 above where your thumb was, 2 notes, 2 notes, big jump, together, together again, pinky comes over, and big stretch, cross over with the right hand and play 2 notes here, then the pinky kind of comes in the middle, hop down, then left hand's just gonna hold, move up, move down next door, add that sharp, 5 of 5, big jump, let's go back to the boom-chuck, up a third, 2 notes, down next door, pop, down. Now I'm gonna just play the next part more at tempo so you can see how that is, just lines 1 and 2. Down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up. Okay, we're ready for part 3, transferring these chord symbols to the tune. So we wish you a merry. I like to put the chord symbols above the word they're happening on. Wish you a merry. 5 chords. Good. Okay, so this chord information allows us to play this in any key as long as we know the notes of that key. So when you're trying to determine what might be a good key, you could look at what the range is. So right here, the key of C is pretty high for singing. So if I wanted to accompany a group of singers more in a medium range, I might try something like this. We look at what our first note is, it's so of the scale. So if this was, it's kind of a medium range, more people might feel more comfortable singing here. So that starting note is so. So if I move down, that would mean I'm in the key of F major. So that's what I'm going to use for this video. We'll do F major. Everything's going to be root. 1, F, 2 is G minor, 3 is A minor, 4, B flat, 5 is C, 6 is D minor, 7 I don't think we're using, but it's E diminished, and 1 is F. The only chord that is outside of the key is that 5 of 5, so 5 is C. The 5 of C is going to be G. So we would use a G chord right here. So the way I like to accompany a boom, chuck, chuck between the hands is the left hand will play the root, and then the right hand can play the full chord. When we did it with just the left hand, it was pinky, 1, 3, 1, 3, pinky, 1, 3. But if we're doing it between the hands, we can do makes it a little bit more robust. So let's go through that nice and slowly. So if you have a large group of people that you're accompanying, you're playing the chords for, first you want to give them their pitch, which is going to be the so, and perhaps maybe 2 measures of intro in the rhythm. So like this, 1, 2, 3, ready, and go. So let's go through the whole piece nice and slowly in this alternate key. Right hand's going to be hopping around, left hand's going to be hopping around playing the roots. So with the intro, 1 chord is F, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, we wish you. Now up to 4, B flat, down to 2, G minor, 5 is C, A minor, D minor, G minor, C, F. Now we're going to just do the holding of the chord. So F, 3 is A minor. We already talked about this. G is the 5 of 5. And then C. And then back to boom chuck. 1, 2, A minor coming up. 1 on here, then hop. Once you get more familiar with how this works, then you can mix up your inversions of your chords. So you might do something like, say I'm using inversions. That's once you get a little bit more flexible with your right hand. Thank you very much for watching the 12 Days of Harmonization series. This was video number 4. We covered boom, chuck, chuck pattern, waltz pattern. You can use this for all sorts of melodies. Very versatile, very flexible. We harmonized using solfege, and then we transposed using the chord symbols into the key of F major. Please subscribe so you don't miss the other 8 videos in this series. And I also have lots of other piano related videos that you might enjoy on my channel. I love it when you write to me, tell me what you're working on, if you have any questions or videos that you would like to see. And as always, I appreciate you watching.